Let's keep going with solving systems of equations in context. We've got two problems that we're going to look at today, both a little bit longer than the problems we did last time. But they do have graphs right here, so we are going to be graphing these on a coordinate plane that they've given us. But there is some help that gives to us. We'll see what that is in just a second. So it says Luther just became a personal trainer and is finalizing his pricing plans. One plan is to charge $100 for the initial consultation and $40 per session. Another plan is to charge a smaller fee of $50 for the consultation and a slightly higher fee of $50 per session. Luther realizes that the two plans have the same cost for a certain number of sessions, and here's what he wants to know. How many sessions does Luther need to keep a client so he makes up for the smaller consultation fee? So here are the two consultation fee prices. He could charge $100 up front, so pretty pricey up front, but then he discounts the rate per session, or he can charge $50 for the consultation up front and then $50 per session after that. And he knows, slowly he's going to make up for this $50 discount that he gave him by charging them more every time. What he wants to know is at what point is he going to get more money from a client by giving them that discount up there. So it's kind of an incentive to keep his clients longer. So we've basically got two pricing plans. Now, in order to figure out what X and Y are going to represent on this, it might be a good idea to go through here and take a look at where we can find the rates, because that's going to help us figure this out. So it says $100 for the initial consultation and $40 per session. $40 per session, that is a rate. And $50 per session, that is a rate. That's going to be our slope. So let me write one of those down. I'm going to write down the $40 per session. Okay. Now, if we keep with that way that we've typically calculated slopes and rates of change and stuff like that, we're going to have the y on the top and we're going to have the x on the bottom. So in this problem, x is going to represent the number of sessions. So we'll write that right here. We're declaring variables. And y is going to represent the dollar amount. Okay. And that kind of makes sense, because what he's asking here is how many sessions does he need to keep the client so that he makes more money. So sessions is going to be what we're interested in figuring out, how many he needs to have. And then what he's ultimately interested in is not just the sessions. He wants to know how much money he's going to make. Okay, so I'm going to do two different colors. For plan one, I'm going to say the dollar amount, or how much money he gets, is going to be $100 plus $40 per session. Okay, so again, this is the number of sessions, and this is the dollar amount right here. Now you'll notice that I wrote this backwards from the way we normally do. It really doesn't matter. If you're uncomfortable with that, then go ahead and write it the other way. So we're going to write y equals 40x plus 100. There's that initial amount, or that starting amount. There's that rate times x. So we're going to make sure that we graph this one right here. And then in blue, I'm going to do the other one. So this is the other pricing plan. So on that pricing plan, he does this. He's only going to charge, or he's going to charge $50 a month, or per session, but he's going to charge that lower $50 fee up front. Okay, so there are the two that we're after. So this is plan number, whoops, I'll do it this way. This is plan number 2, and this one here is number 1. That's pricing plan number 1. We'll kind of keep them straight that way. Now, we are going to use calculators to solve this, but we do need to graph this. This might be easy enough that we can do by hand, but if we were to look at this, there's actually some help that this coordinate plane right here gives us if we were going to graph this on the calculator. You'll notice that it's already got a window set up. In the x direction, it goes from 0 to 10, and this would be sessions. So I'm going to go ahead and label that sessions. And in the y direction, it goes from 0 to 500, so this is going to be the dollar amounts. So this one's going to cross at 100, and it's going to go up by $40 every time. So it's going to look something like this. It's going to start at 100 and go up to $140, another $40, so that's going to be 180, and then another $40, that's going to be 220. It's going to look something like this. And then the other one starts at 50, so it's cheaper up front, but it goes up $50. So we're going to go up $50, so that's going to be 100, go up $50, so that's going to be 150, and so forth. So you can see they're kind of tracking toward each other. So I'm going to grab the calculator, and okay, this is right on top of there. So we're going to type this in, and as we typically have, we've got an old window in here. So let's go ahead and go to y equals, and let's get rid of this. We're going to put in 40x, and then this was plus 100. Okay, and then this other one was 50x, and then plus, let's see, plus 50. Okay, and again, I've got that 0 hanging off on the end there. I'm just going to hit the delete key. Now, before I start graphing, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I've got them in correctly. I've got them in the right way. Okay, and then I'm going to do the window. Now, for the window, you'll notice that this is a big mess. This may or may not work for ours, but let's set this up the way we've got this here. Let's go from an x min, a smallest x of 0, and then let's go to 10. All right, and this has a tick mark every 1 unit, so let's make the scale equal to 1. And then the y minimum, the y starts at 0, so we're going to put in 0. It goes all the way up to 500, so we'll do 500 here. We are going to have to, whoops, it actually deletes that 0 for us, so we're in good shape there. And then let's put that it puts a tick mark every, so that's the y scale, every 50 units. Okay, and again, don't worry about the x resolution. So we're going to hit graph, and we're going to see what we end up with. Now, other than this being a square graph over on the paper and a kind of a rectangular stretched out graph in this direction, these two are the same. So you'll notice that we have a line starting lower and then going higher here, a line starting higher here and then going lower because the rate isn't quite the same. So that looks pretty darn good. We could have the calculator find the intersection point for us. So I'm going to hit second, calculate. I'm going to hit the number 5, and then again you can just hit the enter button 3 times, it'll find it for us, so it'll be 5, 300. Now I'm going to come back over here and we're going to finish sketching this. So the calculator told us the answer was 5, 300. I'd like you to take a look here. If this is, let's see, this was 220, we're going to go up another $40, so that's going to be 260, so we're going to be right here. And then up another $40 would put us at $300, and notice that we get to 5 sessions. So this would be 340, then 380, and then 420, and so forth. So that line's going to look like this. Draw that, whoops, draw that as straight as I possibly can. Make it look kind of nice there, so it looks like this. And then the blue one, again, rise 50, run 1 session, rise 50, run 1 session, so it's going to look like this, rise 50, run 1 session. So even by hand, this wouldn't have been too bad to figure out. So again, I'm going to draw that line right there. But again, because the scale on this is so large in the vertical direction, it might be hard to tell exactly what that point is, and that's where we can rely on the calculator. So we've got this sketch that we did by hand, it looks great, and then we've got this confirmation on the calculator that it's 5, 300. So I'm going to write 5, 300 here, and then we're going to remember we declared variables at the beginning. So this is the number of sessions, and this is the dollar amount. Okay, so how many sessions does Luther need to keep a client so he makes up for the smaller consultation fee? He needs to keep them for at least 5 sessions. So we're going to say at least 5 sessions. And we'll add a little bit of information here. We're going to say he'd be kind of breaking even, making up for that difference that he had, because he's going to have $300 under both plans. Okay, so on both plans at that point. Okay, all right, so we've got that one taken care of. Let's take a look at the next one. We've got this axis right here, and I want to point out something right now so that I don't forget this. You'll notice that this axis right here has a little jagged line in it. This is called a broken axis. Okay, so break in axis. All right, and what that tells us is when they were graphing this, there's probably not much information down in this bottom part right here, so they remove part of the axis, and that's what that little jagged thing is. We can use that on the y-axis or the x-axis. Just be on the lookout for that. We probably won't use that when we're graphing this on the calculator, but just keep that in mind if you ever see that in the future. So it says Karen is going to ship some gifts to family members, and she is considering 2 shipping companies. The first shipping company charges a fee of $20 to ship a medium box, plus an additional $2 per kilogram. And the second shipping company charges $15 for the same size box, plus an additional $3 per kilogram. At a certain weight, the 2 shipping methods will cost the same amount. Karen would like to know what that amount is and the cost so she can keep it under that weight and save money. Now, as we've said before, if you can see a rate, that's going to help us figure out what the variables are going to represent here. So I'm going to write down the first one. This is $2 per kilogram. So $2 per kilogram. So this is going to be the X and this is going to be the Y. So in our problem, Y is going to represent money. It's going to represent the cost, and X is going to represent kilograms. So let's take a look at the first one. The total cost of shipping is going to come from two things. It's going to come from that $20 up front plus the $2 per kilogram. So this is going to be 2 times the number of kilograms, and then we add that $20 fee up front. Let's take a look at the next one. This other shipping company, they charge $15 up front and $3 per kilogram. So on this one, we're going to have $3 per kilogram. So we're going to take $3 times the number of kilograms, and then we're going to add 15. Now, you might be able to see based on these y-intercepts why they cut off the bottom part of the y-axis right here. Because if this represents dollars and this represents kilograms right here, there's no way we're going to ship anything for less than $15. That's the smallest amount. It's just going to go up from there. So one of these lines is going to start off right here. In fact, I'll go ahead and graph that one right now. That one's going to start off at 15, and then it's going to be rising 3 and running 1. So when we say rise 3, we're going to go up $3 for 1 kilogram, up $3 for 1 kilogram, up $3 for 1 kilogram, and so forth. So that line's going to look something like that. And then the other one is going to cross at 20. So we're going to cross right here at 20, and it's going to go up $2 per kilogram. So up $2 for 1 kilogram, up $2 for 1 kilogram, up $2 for 1 kilogram. So this one is quite a bit more expensive, but you can see, same as the last one, this is actually catching up here. So we're going to grab the calculator. I've got that last problem in here, so we're going to go ahead and change this. So this is going to be, let's see what we had here. We need to make this a 2x plus 20. We'll get rid of that other stuff right there. Make sure we've got that in the right way. 2x plus 20. The other one is 3x plus 15. Get rid of that 0 on that one. Make sure that it looks all right. And then we're immediately going to go over here and we're going to make this look as far as the x and y axis are the same as what we've got on the graph here. So in the x direction, we start at 0 and we go to 10. And again, that represents kilograms, marked every one. And then in the y direction, we're going to start at 0. There's not really a good way to break the axis, although we could just start at 12. I'm going to start at 0. So the y-min is going to start at 0, and the maximum is 50. So we've got that, and then putting a tick mark every 50 wouldn't be very good. We're going to put a tick mark every 2. So I'm going to hit a 2 right here. Made sure to erase the 0, so I'm going to hit graph, and there we go. There's that first line. Here's that second line that catches up. Now you'll notice that again, it looks a little bit different for a couple of reasons. We're squishing a whole bunch of tick marks in the y direction. This looks pretty good in the x direction. If we wanted to, I just want to show you that we could do this. Let's come down here and let's make the y minimum. Let's start it at 12. Okay, so if we started at 12, let's see if that doesn't look a little bit better. That looks fairly good. Again, we're comparing something that's roughly square on the paper with something that's stretched out in the x direction. So this isn't set up to look like a square, but we've got that right there. Let's go ahead and have the calculator find the exact answer for us. So we're going to hit second calculate. We're going to hit the number 5. And again, we just hit the enter button 3 times. It's going to find the answer for us. It happens to be 5,30. So let's come back here and let's kind of confirm that. For the blue one, we're going up. Remember, we're going up $3 for every kilogram. We're going up $3 for every kilogram, up $3 for every kilogram. So it's going to look something like this. So here's our blue graph for that particular shipping scenario. And then this one is going up $2 for every kilogram, up $2 for every kilogram, and notice where they cross. Looks pretty darn good. And again, if you're graphing this perfectly and everything works out, that's great. But that point right there is 5,30. And remember, this is going to be the kilograms, and that's going to be the dollar amount. So it says Karen would like to know what that weight is and what the costs are so that she can keep it under that weight and save money. So if she's going to save money, she's going to go with this second one, okay? And she's going to keep it under, let's see, 5 kilograms. Okay, go with second company, keep under 5 kilograms and pay less than $30. Okay? All right. That kind of summarizes all the information in this particular problem. Again, a little longer, but you can actually see where something like this might come up in real life, because there are lots of times where we've got to compare prices between a few different companies. They might charge us less up front and more for the services they offer, or more up front and less for the services they offer.